and we are on. Hello everybody, this is Dom from Upstate Supernatural. I have a guest here with us tonight. It's Karissa Fleck, and we're going to bring her in just a second. Alrighty. Karissa, if you would like to explain who you are and the group that you work with.
Yep, I'm Karissa Fleck. I'm a psychic medium, paranormal investigator. I currently work with Eastern Pennsylvania Paranormal Society, but I also freelance and I work with Scott Gerhardt a lot as well.
Alright, and I'm going to ask a few questions to start out, and then after that, anybody that's viewing will have them ask some questions as well.
Okay.
For about how long have you been investigating the paranormal?
You know, I'm a newbie. I've only been in it for about 2 years now.
Okay. And then, what caused you to ever be interested in the field of ghost hunting?
Well, I've always been able to see and communicate with the dead since I was a little kid. And, you know, I was going to school for psychology, and then I got into a bad car wreck, and I ended up moving around that same time to this isolated farmhouse from the 1700s. And, you know, I started to be able to, like, pick up the spirits. And I started making, like, a little list and how I thought they had died. And then I actually went and researched it, and it came out, I think, like, 9 out of 10 were correct. And then that's when I really started getting interested in it. I kind of wanted to know, like, what else was out there. And I wanted to be able to use my abilities to try and help people. And that's when I linked up with Eastern PA Paranormal Society. You know, I met him at a bar, and we started talking, and, you know, at the time I wasn't really saying that I was a medium. I still don't really feel comfortable throwing around that term too much, but, you know, I started talking to him, and he asked me to come out on an investigation, and then ever since then it was just kind of, you know, one after another. Been a crazy ride.
Alright. And all of us have some interesting stories. Is there a particular story that you would like to tell? Something that has happened to you?
You know, the case that I'm most known for, the horsefly chronicles, that is definitely the case that will forever stay with me. You know, I didn't really believe in demonic entities before that case. I had no experiences with them whatsoever. I remember I got a call from my team founder. And this is right when I was starting to talk about my abilities and, like, just a little bit. So he didn't tell me too much information on the case. All he said was it was a man that thought he was haunted, and that's all I knew. It was after that phone call, things started progressing in my own home to the point of me getting sexually attacked, physically attacked, and just emotionally attacked. And, like, I won't go into too much detail about it. You know, it's all over the internet. I don't really like talking about it. But I ended up going to that case anyway, and I ended up bonding with the family, and I ended up living in that house for 4 months. And I brought in some of the bigger names in the paranormal and researched it with them, and it was just a crazy experience. It's still an ongoing case, you know. I actually will not step foot back into that home because of a deliverance that happened. And since then, I don't feel comfortable in that house. I get sick.
All right, and another question I actually had was, how many investigations would you say you have partaken? Like, how many have you been on?
That's a hard one for me to answer. You know, like I said, the Horsefly Chronicles was about my third case into the paranormal world. Since then, it's been crazy. I want to say that I've been on one once every 2 weeks, working with all different kinds of people. And some of the best in the field. I'm currently actually taking a hiatus and just like a little break from it. But it's a hard one to answer. I've been on a lot.
How about during an investigation, is there certain equipment that you prefer to use over other equipment that may be out in the field?
You know, I really enjoy the spirit box. never really gave it much thought until I was on an investigation and it said my name loud as day. And since then, I really, really like it. I'm not one of those people that looks for things to hear in the static. Like, it has to be a clear answer, an exact answer to my question that I'm asking. But I love the spirit box. Other than that, I am pretty basic. I like audio recorders.
Okay. What do you find to be the greatest part of doing an investigation? Some individuals find that doing the actual investigation is is the greatest part for them. Others find that going over the evidence is the greatest part for them. What do you feel is the greatest part of an investigation for yourself?
I really like both parts. I think that it's great to go out there and actually investigate everything. But then I also love going over the evidence and getting that back to the clients. I feel that that's an important part. And unfortunately, a lot of teams out there, will only go do the investigation and they don't really follow up or do the follow through. And I think that's just as important. So I like both.
To any new people that might be interested in joining the field, is there any tips or truths that you may like to share with them?
Just link up with a respected local team and just really make sure you're prepared for everything. I never thought that I would be a victim of a demonic haunting or attack, and I was not prepared whatsoever for it. That case was a huge learning curve for me, and I made a lot of mistakes in the beginning, and I'll be the first to admit that. The best thing that I can say is just prepare for the worst and protect yourself, but also research and learn.
So what about spirit boxes? What is it exactly that you enjoy about using the spirit boxes over, trying to use a K2 or trying to use, other methods? What is it that a spirit box does?
I like the direct line of communication that I seem to get from the spirits with the spirit box. Not every case the spirit box is active or anything, but I really like having the direct answers and stuff, and that's the same reason why I like the audio recorder. Those seem to be my two things that I really like to do in the field. I am a psychic medium, so what I like to do when I first go on a case is do a basic walkthrough. Unfortunately for me, usually I'm visited by a spirit before I even go to the house, so I know exactly what I'm walking into, I would say 9 out of 10 times. I like to do a walkthrough, then I like to talk to the clients what I picked up. And I do this without getting any pictures or any information whatsoever from cases. And then I like to have the direct line of communication with the spirit box or audio recorder. I pretty much like to prove my findings to myself. And for whatever reason, I think those two devices happen to work best for me. I don't know.
Now, actually, a question I'll be asking in just a second is, what about Ouija boards? How do you feel about those? Do you think they work
everyone's
better?
so against them, and I just see it as a tool. I think that everything we do in the paranormal opens up doors. I'm not fully against the Ouija boards. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I feel that a spirit box is pretty much almost the same exact thing. What you're doing is opening the doors for communication. Now, would I go and use an Ouija board on a client's house? Probably not, unless that client had experiences using the Ouija board. Then I might do that as a research method. I'm not one of those people that's like, oh my god, you're going to talk to demons or demonic entities if you do that. I, of course, don't recommend people outside the field to go and buy an Ouija board, but it's the same thing. I don't recommend them to go and buy a spirit box without proper training or knowledge. Because you have to be prepared that you might contact something dark whenever you're doing anything.
Is there certain devices or applications you feel work better than others? I mean, the spirit box, you said that's kind of something you enjoy using. Same with the voice recorder. Is there other devices or applications that you've used that you feel probably work a little bit better than the other ones that are out in the field?
I love the laser grid. I love being able to catch the shadows that walk across. I actually set that up in my own house half the time, and I've caught some pretty cool things. I like the Ovulus. I don't really know why a lot of people complain about that, but I tend to get good results on that. But mostly I just I stay very basic with my equipment. I don't really go out and purchase all the new stuff. I like to keep kind of old school with it. But app-wise, I haven't really used too many apps. So, an investigation at the horsefly house, I guess like a month ago, a gentleman came over and used some apps there, and it produced cool results, but I'm more old school.
What about, what would be the worst thing you probably ever came across that you feel? I mean, obviously the horsefly chronicles and so forth, but, I mean, is there more than that? Or that takes the
I
cake?
think that was the worst case I've ever done, and I hope it's the worst case I ever do. To be perfectly honest with you, that has been the worst case, and it's been the most infested case I've ever done. I 100% with no doubt say that case is pure demonic and pure evil, and the things I experienced there will forever stay with me, and they forever changed me as a person.
What would be your theory about why or how ghosts exist? It's something I ask every person I interview, just out of curiosity. Everybody kind of has their own beliefs.
There's a few theories that I run across in my head, and I think it's either energy, positive or negative energy, gets left behind sometimes, or it could be, someone that just had unfinished business. I've come across a lot of mediums or paranormal investigators that say every spirit that is earthbound is negative, and I don't think that's true. I think that spirits stay around for multiple reasons, and, some are bad and some are good and some are inhuman, and it's just a gamble of what you're going to come across, I guess. But I would say either energy or, unfinished business type of thing.
Okay. Were you ever a skeptic? Or per se like a non-believer of things in the paranormal?
I get laughed at all the time for this because I am a medium, but I always question the paranormal. Always. That's half the reason why I wanted to go out and do this too, was to really prove that there was another side. I grew up believing, seeing things, but I didn't really know fully what I was experiencing or, if it was real or not. And it wasn't until I got into the paranormal that I could confirm that, I do have abilities, that spirits do exist, that there's other things that we are not aware of. So, yeah, there was a time where I was a skeptic.
All right, and then any questions that any of our viewers may have, Nikki's actually kind of taken some of them, and should be popping in just a second to
Okay.
let us know what they are.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Good. I was hoping my mic was working. Okay. So they had some great questions, and hopefully they'll still come pouring in as we speak. But one of their questions would be, has anything ever followed you home?
Yes. Again, the Horsefly Chronicles case, I hate to keep bringing it up, but the entities from that house, unfortunately, still to this day, pop in every now and then. It's really weird. Other than that, no, I've been really lucky. I do get visited before cases, though.
Okay. Another question would be, do you have any investigators that inspire you or that you look up to?
I love Scott Gerhardt with a burning passion. My friend Chris from out in New Orleans, another great person. John Brightman actually was one of my first friends in the paranormal world, and he really kind of mentored me in the beginning and really did give me great advice. So I would say those are the three that really inspire me and help me through this.
Awesome. Now, you stated that you're a psychic. Does that at all complicate your investigations or perhaps your perception of the evidence you receive?
No, I am a psychic, but I like to still do the scientific end of things. I actually enjoy that a lot more than just reading people or talking to the dead. I like to validate what I'm seeing and hearing with actual evidence, and that's why I love working with Scott. He's such a great person for that. He really taught me a lot on that end.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think it complicates it at all.
Okay. Are any of your psychic impressions validated through investigations or vice versa?
I want to say pretty much all the time.
Okay.
Whenever I go to a client and I do a walkthrough and I pretty much tell them what I saw or picked up on, they're pretty much blown away right away. The team that I do work kind of closely with, Eastern PA Paranormal, the founder, Bill Cook, he really is impressed by the psychic abilities I do have. But in my real life, I don't like to use my abilities. I try to shut them off as much as possible and try to live a normal life.
Okay. Let's see. How do you differentiate, in your definition, a dark entity versus a demonic entity?
Okay. This question's hard to answer, of course, for multiple reasons. The reason why I'm so confident in saying the horsefly case is demonic was from my personal experiences, the physical harm, the emotional harm, the mental harm, pretty much my life falling apart through doing this case. Demonic entities, it's not always like horns. You're not seeing creatures with horns all the time or anything like that, but they will target your life. And if you talk to any investigator that's been on a true demonic case, after the case, their life kind of fell apart. Leaving the deliverance of the house, my 2012 Ford Focus transmission blew out, going home from that deliverance. After that, my house started having a lot of problems. I had construction workers over for 2 weeks trying to fix my house because it was about to blow up. It's little things like that. Also, what I've noticed with the horsefly case that makes me so confident that it's demonic and not just a dark entity is they're so vicious. They go after people that just talk to me. All my friends have experienced weird things. Other paranormal investigators in the field, they come into your house, and they really do torment you. I've been on cases with dark entities, and it's not like that at all. You get human impressions and human vibes, and I guess that's hard to explain to people that don't have abilities, but it's just totally different ballgame.
Okay.
Is there any literature or anything that could help others out in the field to learn more about demonic?
I really like the book The Dark Sacrament. It's not the most popular, but I really, really enjoy that book. I think the stories in that book are probably some of the most accurate about demonic possession or attack that I've come across.
Very cool. Let's see. We do have a few more. Let's see here. Have you ever felt an investigation was a dud, and then you got home and you watched or listened to your footage and you were surprised by it?
There was one time. I actually wasn't visited from this case, and I went, and I didn't really pick up too much psychically, impression-wise. And, throughout the investigation, we've all been there where you're feeling like you're not getting anything. And then I came home and I actually caught a few good EVPs, which I was actually surprised by. But it was a good surprise.
Let's see here. Now, I know you stated that you discovered or validated your abilities once you were, starting to investigate and such. But how did you go about really discovering that you had them, psychic abilities?
I knew my whole life, to be honest with all of you. I knew my whole life. I just kind of pushed it aside, and I just lived a normal life, When I was in elementary school, I got kicked out of the school for talking about death on the grounds, and after that, I kind of just shut off, and I didn't want to talk about it, and that was the point when I knew I was different. I still experienced it my whole life. Half of me wondered if I was crazy, to be honest with everyone. You always wonder that when you're coming into your abilities. Luckily I had my mom to talk to about it, and she kind of helped me through everything and guided me, but it wasn't until the paranormal field that I really was confident in saying, yes, I have abilities, and yes, I can do this, and kind of coming out of the paranormal closet, to be honest.
Okay.
Is there certain, traits or certain insights that you can give for anybody that may have those gifts and not realize it? Is there anything that you could kind of let them know as well?
Whether or not you embrace your gift or not, spirits are going to be drawn to you regardless of it, because you are a lighthouse to them. I recommend meditation. That helps a lot, and if you're interested in, like, strengthening your abilities, you really just have to go out into the field and really just, it opens you up. Like, I'm sorry, like, I've talked to so many paranormal investigators that had no abilities throughout their whole lives, and then they start investigating and they become, like, sensitive. Actually being out in the field and talking to spirits on a, like, regular does open you up. So I would say just meditation. That's what I do.
Okay, and another question from the chat room is, do you help cross entities over?
No, unfortunately, that's not really my specialty. I'm not going to sit here and say that I can do that. I wish I could do that. I never really learned how to do that, to be honest with you.
Do you feel that people actually can do that, like that they have the ability to do it?
I do think there's people that have the ability to do that, I mean, of course there is. That just doesn't happen to be my specialty. For whatever reason, my specialty is just being able to walk into a case, know what's there, and communicate with them. I'm sure if I strengthened my abilities, I could happen to cross them over, but it's not something that I ever really looked into.
Now, with all the TV shows, all the movies, and so forth that are coming out about paranormal things, I mean, that's the main focus for this show, is to give the reality, to let people see the truth about what actually paranormal investigating is. Is there any form of, like, insight or anything that you could tell people out there that could let them see the truth of how those shows or movies or TV shows, if they help the field or if they don't help the field? Is there any insight or opinion you can give with that?
I think it really depends on the movie or the show. I think there's some shows and movies out there that totally make us look like jokes. And then I think there's some that are accurate descriptions of what we do. I'm a big fan of Ghost Stalkers. I love that show. I feel like that was one of the best ones. But other than that, like, there's a few good ones. I'm not trying to offend any of my friends. That's why I'm not really saying anything. So, but yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to throw you on the spot. It was just that.
Yeah, no.
Really, for me, for this series, it's really to focus on.
I think that Hollywood spends a lot of time saying that everything's demonic, and that really, like, gets into people's heads. I can't tell you how many cases I've been called on where the client's like, it's demonic, and I walk in and we find out that it's just a negative spirit. Not everything is demonic and evil or out to get you, but that's what Hollywood likes to have you think, and there's certain shows where everyone claims that everything's demonic, and that's not the case. Fortunately, demonic cases are very, very rare.
Is there any other questions in the...
Yes, there are, actually.
Okay.
Let's see. One of the questions is, how can we find out and see more about you? Do you have a YouTube channel? And how can people kind of keep on tap with what you're up to?
Okay, I don't have a YouTube channel. You can find me on Facebook under Karissa Fleck. That's pretty much all I use, to be honest with you.
Do you do any, like, events and so forth?
I am signed to ASAP Entertainment. I will be doing conventions soon. I haven't started doing them yet. I've been pretty busy, with everything going on with the horsefly case, and then I also started a past life project that I'm really psyched to work on, and so I've been pretty busy, but I will be at events soon.
And you did kind of answer this a little bit earlier, but somebody else asked, let me see real quick, who do you consider your mentor in the paranormal field? In other words, is there someone that you consider as an expert or a leader in the field that helped you?
I don't think anyone's an expert in this field, to be honest with you. Like, we're all searching for the same answers, but I would have to say the person closest to me, that I live closest to, is Scott Gerhardt. He's awesome, and he's really showed me a lot with the technology and everything. Phil Siracusa, the client from the horsefly house, even though he's my client, I've learned so much from him as well. You know, I'm just blessed to be surrounded by amazing people in the field to really guide me, being as I am so new to this. You know, I've been very fortunate in having the right people by my side.
Okay, and actually another one just came in. Let's see, how do you feel about skeptics in the paranormal community?
You know, I don't mind them, honestly. I think skeptics kind of keep things on point and keep everything else in check. You know, I kind of like having a skeptic with me. You know, Scott Gerhardt's kind of a skeptic. I love having him come on cases with me because he's like, oh yeah, Chris, okay. And then we'll get evidence and he'll be like, oh man, like, you're right. Like, I like it. I don't know about everyone else, but I personally enjoy it.
Is there certain things out in the field that possibly, you know, you think could revolutionize or like change the field?
You know, I don't like how everyone comes at each other's throats. I feel that we're in a spiritual based like field, and we should really try to work together. You know, I hate all the drama. I really do, and I've been a victim of it many times, and it just sucks. I mean, everyone's so mean to each other, and it's a shame. It's not a competition, you know, we're all in this to help people. That's why we should be in it, and, you know, it's important to remember why we got into the field in the first place.
Very, very true. Another question that I just saw popped in is there a certain place somewhere that is like your dream location to investigate?
Oh, there's so many. Okay. I've never been to a mental asylum to investigate, and that's one of the things that I want to do on my bucket list. I'm mostly a residential type girl, but I really, really want to go to Penhurst, and it's so close to me, and I just haven't made it out there yet. But for now, I'm going to go with that's my dream location. Also, the Bell Witch Cave. I feel like that would be awesome.
Basically, another question would be, in the essence, I mean, you've talked a lot about demonology and malevolent, and even with a mental institution, and not to, you know, sticking in a tough spot, but do you feel that a lot of people actually are drawn into the field because of the negative aspects? I mean, you know, the thrill of...
I think there are people that are drawn to it for that reason. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, though. You just have to be careful. Like I said before, you can't run around, like, poking sticks at things. You know, you have to be respectful and nice. And if you are unfortunate enough to come across a real demonic case, you better be protected and prepared for it, because it's a life changer. I don't really necessarily like the people that go out and, like, I'm gonna hunt demons, or I'm gonna do this. Like, you know, like, you have to be really careful with that kind of stuff, and it's not something I would recommend, but it definitely does happen when you're not looking for it, type of thing.
And actually, another question was, you know, a lot of people don't know too much about the psychic thing, you know, psychic abilities and so forth.
Yeah.
You know, how far does it extend? But their question is, have you ever had, like, an out-of-body experience?
Only once, to be honest with you. Well, alright. Out-of-body experience, I astro projected when I meditated, and that's when I first started meditating and first really started opening up to my abilities. Other than that, I have channeled spirits and, unfortunately, demonic entities while living at the horsefly case. So I guess you could count that too. I am a channeler. I happen to... Usually half the time when I'm talking during a case, it's not necessarily me talking, and it's hard to explain and sounds really crazy, but, you know, it definitely is a different thing, I guess.
And actually, there's a individual that's a paranormal skeptic. He's asking, you know, do you feel that paranormal investigators should conduct themselves in a professional manner?
Oh, yeah.
At all times?
I definitely think so. You know, I think that we get a bad rep from a lot of people, and that it's important to really show people that we're in it for the right reasons, and it's not... What we do is not a game. And when you're going to a client's house, or even if you're doing like a convention or anything, you always have to be professional and like polite, and like it's important. And it's also important to talk about your experiences together and try to help each other. But I pride myself on trying to be as professional as I possibly can at age 26.
Yeah, I mean, I've gone into investigations, and I find that if you give the spirits respect, the same respect you would give somebody in real life, that's a lot.
Well, I mean, like, most of them were living once.
So, yeah.
Yeah, like, most of them were living once. You treat others how you want to be treated. That extends to death. Like, I don't like bullies in the paranormal world that go in and provoke and poke sticks. Like, you have to be respectful. Like, how would you feel if someone came into your house and started demanding you to leave or answer questions,
Now, for, basically spirits, because, I mean, we already asked it, is, they're either looking for help or they're kind of stuck in this situation. Is there more truth with that? Like, that you feel you have found, being that you feel you're psychic? You know what I mean? Is there more truth?
I feel like a lot have, like, messages that they want to pass along half the time, Like, I also do think that they get stuck behind due to traumatic events, and some of them don't even know they're dead. That's why it's also important to be respectful to the spirits, because a lot of them don't know they're dead. I've noticed that. So, yeah.
Yeah, I've noticed that during investigating. Is, you catch the EVP that says, Mommy, are we dead? Or, you're trying to explain to them the year, and then all of a sudden they're like, no, it's not that year. You bring in a newspaper, and then they're like, oh, he wasn't kidding. How much emphasis, she says, do you rely on, like, a team for safety when investigating? Are you are you team oriented, or are you more of like a individual, investigating individual?
I'm both. After living in the horsefly case for 4 months, you kind of learn how to be by yourself and investigate. I was investigating every night when I lived there. But I also love working with a team. I feel that it's great to have support and, really like the paranormal unity again. I don't work with just one team. I try to work with as many people as I can, because I feel that every single person has something that I can learn from. So I like both. I still go to cases by myself sometimes, and I'll do like a basic walkthrough, and then like if it's active, I'll call Scott and have him come down with all of his equipment, because he's a tech guy, or other people that I surround myself with, So it just depends on the situation.
And actually, another one that popped in is when you're going on an investigation, do you do a lot of research on the place? Or,
no, I do no research, none whatsoever.
Go in there blindly to see what you see?
Yeah, I don't like even getting pictures of the locations before I go. I mean, of course, if I'm going to go somewhere like Penhurst, Salem, or whatever, I'm going to know things about it. But when I'm doing residentials, I don't like to know anything. I've only been on one case where I was working with Eastern PA Paranormal Society, and he actually demanded that he showed me pictures of it because it was so bad. Of a haunting. It was not demonic, it was a negative haunting, but it was so bad that he wanted to he made me see pictures of it. But other than that, I refuse to see pictures of anything or know anything about it. I don't even ask their names, and half the time I don't even know what city it's in, because my team founder, Bill, when I work with him, usually picks me up.
And usually, I mean, the research, if it causes validation after you've investigated.
Yeah, I do like to do research afterwards, after the case, or really try to figure it out. For a while, Eastern PA was working with a historian. Unfortunately, they're not on the team anymore. But I still like to do it. I like history, but I wait till after.
Trying to see if there's any other questions that are popping up real quick. Yeah, I mean, is there any upcoming projects that you have coming up as well?
Like I said, I'm working on the Past Life project, which is, I'm actually still looking for a few people. I've gotten a few people. I'm still looking for a few people that have vivid memories of a past life. And me and a few people in the field are going to try to prove, as much as you can prove something like that, the existence of past lives using psychology, paranormal, history, science, all into one. So I'm really excited for that. It's going to be awesome. I'm also, actually, I got asked to this is new, I haven't announced this yet, but I got asked by a Bigfoot hunter to come and try to get into the mind of Bigfoot psychically, which I'm super excited for. I've always wanted to do something like that, so I think that's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Another one is they say, I see death before it happens. What steps do I need to take before I learn more? I'm not sure what in reference that is. I mean, I think a lot of it is, a lot of people don't understand how a psychic sees or interprets
I'm going to tell
on.
everyone right now that if you need help or guidance getting in touch with your psychic abilities, you can find me on Facebook, and I can actually mentor you. I do that for free. I've mentored tons of people, and I'm more than willing to help someone else. So just get in touch with me on Facebook, and we can talk.
Nikki, was there any questions that you might have personally? Well,
I actually threw a few of mine in the mix. So I kind of got some of mine in there. I do have to say, I agree with you, and I'm telling you, mental asylums are awesome, and
I know
we should go investigate one sometime because they are my absolute favorite, personally. I commend you for doing residential cases. I don't think that people recognize or understand the amount of work involved, and it takes a lot to actually go into a residential case and present what you're finding. So I just give you kudos for that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And you've also been an author for the Horsefly Chronicles, right?
Yes, I'm actually the ghostwriter for Phil Siracusa. I ghostwrite the books. There's 2 on Amazon right now, and I'm actually working on the 3rd one, so that's exciting. And those books just pretty much talk about the case and have testimonials from the other paranormal investigators that I've worked with on the case that have come into it. And the reason why I like talking about that case is because I, number one, feel it's important to preach the importance of protecting yourself. You never know what you're walking into. I did not expect to walk into a demonic case ever in my life, and then I have stuff visiting my house and pretty much torturing me. I also like to talk about it because I think that it does pretty much, really, it's a fascinating story, and I think that it's important for people to know that there is good and there is evil out there, and it just totally changed my life, and that's why I like talking about it so much.
Well, I mean, there's the essence of a lot of investigators, kind of, and probably individuals as well, look at the paranormal and think, well, everybody's trying to search for the demons and so forth. They're searching for some form of demonology. But the fact is that, I mean, it's pretty rare. I mean, it's very, very, very rare. Like I said before, I get called on so many cases where the client thinks it's demonic, and I get there and I'm like, no, this is what's going on. It's because it's Hollywoodized, and everyone thinks that if they get that demonic case, it's going to change their life. Yeah, it will change your life, but for the worse. Do not go out and look for it. Like, I recently have come into the field of demonology. Now, I still don't think every case is demonic. I'm not one of those people that goes in and is like, oh my god, everything here is demonic. But, like, I've learned from some of the better end people in demonology, and I use that in my daily investigations, what I've learned from those people. But, fortunately for me, the Horsefly Chronicles hopefully will be the only demonic case that I actually get onto. Because they really mess up your life. Now, I mean, this is a personal question, and for me, for psychics, and actually somebody else kind of asked it in a different way. But, a lot of people that believe in psychics, they look at a psychic reading as 100% truth.
No.
I mean, my own personal feeling is, I mean, there is no way to...
There's no way to know every single thing, and I'm not going to sit here and say that I can read every single person or every single situation. I can't. That's why I don't like to give readings. I don't charge for readings that I do. If I feel that you have a message, I'll tell you. When I first started, I did charge for readings. And then I really learned, you can't charge for the messages that you're being given for other people. It's just not worth it. I hate the psychics out there that are like, oh, I can give anyone a reading. It's not true. You can't do it. I'm not trying to offend anyone, but no one is 100% dead on every single time. You know, I've really found my niche going into clients' homes and being able to pick up spirits. But, you know, I work with other psychic mediums too, and they'll do a separate walkthrough, and we come up with two different things. You pick up what you're meant to pick up. And that's all you pick up on.
Is there a certain item or certain method that you use to protect yourself, especially during like a demonic investigation or just a demonic situation?
Prayers. That's like, you know, you can have all the like St. Benedict medals in the world or whatever you want to use, whatever your preferences are. Prayer is the best way to go. I always imagine a white light circling me and protecting me in my home when I go to bed at night. And I learned to do that from dealing with the horsefly case. But prayer, 100%, is what got me through those 4 months living there.
And I've normally asked this actually with a skeptic interview series that I do as well. But just out of curiosity, with a ghost hunter and psychic, what is your view on Afterlife? What is your thoughts with Afterlife? Is it just a dirt nap for some, or is it, you know, the enlightenment to carry on to another place, you know, heaven and hell? Just, you know, kind of what's your insight with what you think the afterlife is?
Okay. I do believe in past lives, you know, that's a huge thing for me. I've had my own experiences throughout my life with different past lives. I do believe in heaven and hell. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say I don't, but I don't believe those are the final resting areas. I do think that you get recycled. I'm really weird, and I like, my spirituality is mixes of all different religions and everything. But I definitely believe in reborn and past lives. But I'm also a believer of heaven and hell, so.
And for any individuals out there that are trying to either help a client or help a spirit, what do you think is probably the safest, best option possibly for them to do that?
You know, really just trust your gut with things. If it feels right, it's right. If it feels wrong, it's wrong, and don't do it. You know, that's all I can really say is just follow your gut and trust your instincts. They're never wrong.
And I'm just trying to see if there's any other questions that pop up real quick. Or is there anything that you'd like to add in to any of the questions that we already asked? Like any personal thoughts or so forth?
No, not really. I think you guys asked really good questions. You pretty much touched on every single subject that I could even think of.
Yeah, I'm just going to see if there's any other questions that pop up real quick, and then if not, I appreciate you coming on and doing the show with us.
Thank you for having me.
Anybody that would be interested, I have a bunch of information in the description below the video. So if you're looking to find any of the novels that Karissa is involved with, those are shared in the description below. And you can also find her on Facebook. And if you're ever in the area, you know, maybe you'll be able to catch her at Penhurst once she gets a chance to get over there. So I'm just seeing, it looks like somebody does have a last question. I'm just waiting for it to pop up.
Okay.
Personally, with insane asylums, a lot of people and a lot of investigators, I personally know some of the other ones in my local area, they don't feel going to the seminars or the talks is beneficial because they, you know, already feel they know enough and they don't need somebody else's insight. But going to Rolling Hills, Dave Giuliano, actually, he gave one of the greatest things of insight that a lot of people don't look at. And when we're trying to say, hey, can you communicate with us, whether it's knocking on a door or pushing something against the wall or so forth, in that type of situation, if you know you're in a mental institution and you ask that, they could essentially, you know, use your head as the thing to knock on the wall, or use your body to push up against the wall to shut the door. You know, there's definitely different aspects in that light.
You know, I'm fascinated by them. I think it's sad what happened to those people, and I just really want to get the chance to be able to communicate with them and, you know, just understand it a little bit more. So I think that.
Let me see. Joe also has another question as well, and it was what are your thoughts on deja vu?
Deja vu, I hate it because it freaks me out. I'm just like, I'll get it and I'll just like, why am I remembering this moment? I really don't know what it is. I'm not going to sit here and say I know what every single thing is because I don't. But it's, you know, that actually freaks me out to a point. I'm just like, why am I remembering this?
And then another one, Skeptics able to do readings without using general statements. It's from the Paranormal Skeptic. They're basically asking, you know, a lot of psychics out there when they're given a reading. It's
the fish for answers psychic.
Yeah, it's very basic and trying to fish.
You know, I'm not big on that. When I do readings, which is rare these days, I treat it the same as when I'm going to a client's house. I don't like to know anything. I don't fish for answers. I just pretty much channel through and talk. I've been to actually psychics that do fish for answers, and it's hilarious to me. You know, there are those out there, unfortunately, and you just really have to be careful about who you're going to. I mean, normally a psychic's not really going to charge you that much money. I get that some people use this to live on, but if you're going to someone and they want $500 and you've never heard about them before, I would really reevaluate the situation. I mean, there is unfortunately a lot of frauds.
Yeah, I mean, personally myself, I mean, something like that, is it something that should be charged? You know, something that people should be trying to make a living off from? I mean,
I don't judge those that do charge. Honestly, I don't personally believe in it. I did charge in the beginning, like I said, but after doing it for a while, I realized that you really can't put a price on people and, like, getting them the answers that they need. You know, I personally don't charge, and that's just because I like to do it out of the kindness of my heart, and I like to use the abilities that I have to do that. I'm not looking for money or to get ahead in this field. I just want to help people and learn.
Right.
But the people that do it, you know, I understand it's draining, it's hard work. You know, kudos to you, because I can't give readings all the time. You know, I do understand it. However, when you're charging $500 for a tarot card reading, there's a problem.
Yeah, I mean, you know, a lot of it, especially with the ghost hunting, you know, in the community and so forth. I mean, there is a lot of individuals, and I'm not saying investigating-wise, I'm just saying equipment or psychics or you know, even devices and stuff where, you know, it's almost like it's a money pit, like it's a game to make money.
You know, it's a shame that people are like that. I honestly don't believe in that. I think that the paranormal is an awesome, awesome hobby, and I think that it's awesome to do and help people and learn. But I don't charge for investigations, clearly. I don't charge for services, psychic services. You know, I mentor people for free, and I do that because I want to help people. I feel that that's important, and I feel that when you're putting a price tag on getting someone messages, like, there can be a problem. You know, because there's people that don't have money that still need messages or readings and advice or help. So I personally, I don't like it. I'm not discriminating against anyone that has to charge, but I don't like people that try and make a profit out of the paranormal. There's not much money involved, people.
Right. I mean, there's, you know, with any hobby, there's equipment that you may want to purchase and so forth, but I mean, certain gifts, I mean, it comes into a huge aspect. Is it morality? Is it ethics of trying to charge people for certain aspects? I mean, it's tough to figure that out.
I mean, you know, I don't believe in charging for investigations whatsoever. Like, if you're doing an investigation, I don't feel that you should charge for that. I do think that, you know, if you're traveling really far, the client can offer you gas money. But
Right.
that's about it. That's all I would take is gas money, to be honest with you. If I'm traveling out of state for a case. Reading wise, I understand a little bit more people charging. It's, you know, it's a tricky subject.
Oh, it definitely is.
Because you're mixing spirituality with money. Like, it's hard for me. I can't. You know, I make money off my books, but it's not enough. It's not breaking the bank. You know, but it's okay because I'm doing what I love to do.
Right. But I think that's everything we have for questions. I'd like to thank everybody for viewing, and thank you so much, Karissa, for coming on and
Thanks for having me.
you know, talking with us and giving us a lot of insight. And you know, I personally know a few people that feel they're psychic, and I'm sure you know your insight and so forth. I'm sure I'll try to get them in touch with you, just because a lot of people don't understand it, you know, and especially, you know, some of the skeptics out there, it is tough to understand, you know, how people can say that they're psychic, or other ones that are out there that say they're psychic and they're kind of fishing. So I mean, it's kind of gives you the wrong impression of that
has,
aspect.
you know, it's sad and it's a shame, but in every field there's people that just, you know, there's people that just victimize other people in every single field. It's not just paranormal. The paranormal has gotten a really bad rep, but, you know, it's time to come together and try to change that.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, it'll take time, and truth and honesty have to come out first. But
it's starting to come out, you know. It's slowly starting to come out. The bad apples of the group are being weeded away, which is good for us.
And Nikki, is there anything else popping in your head real quick, or no?
No, I think we got it all. It's a great interview. It was awesome. Thank you guys.
Thank you for
I appreciate
having
it being
me.
able to hear it.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and thank everybody that was in here. Skeptic. Yep. Basically, the Paranormal Skeptic also asked if there's any chance at some point if you'd be interested in trying to do a cold reading with that individual. He's more or less trying to find the answers of.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
You can contact me on Facebook and we can go from there. But yeah, I only do cold readings, so that works for me.
But all right. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.